And we had to let go like 92 of our staffs, 92, and leaving only 8 people. We didn't have any office. We had to work in the cafeterias of, I think, in the area of Kemang Village for I think a couple of months before we managed to secure another funding. And then once we get the project with Unilever up and running, the customers were happy, and then we made such great stride. It went viral. Even the chatbot itself, it's called Jema. Somebody talked to her for straight 4 hours, and then I post on LinkedIn, and I get like 1,000 likes on my post. And I think the rest is snowball effect. Once you get this one big brand that trusts your service, and then the second we get Telkomsel, and the rest just history, like snowball effect, because of this brand network effect we call it.
Hey, this episode is brought to you by Slice. Slice is a creator CRM to help brands and agencies better manage their content creator relationships. Our integrated platform simplifies reporting, payments, and creator relationships for branded sponsored content. Creators, sign up for Slice and get access to brands and agencies who want to hire you for brand deals. We also give you access to your analytics so you can see which channels are growing. And we also create a media kit for you. So with one link, you can send these brands or agencies your entire overview in terms of like who you are, your analytics, your audience demographics, etc. So it's a lot easier to hire you. So go to slice.id, sign up today. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the pod. We've got a great episode for you today. I've got Irzan Raditya on, and he is the co-founder and CEO of Kata.ai. Right. So Irzan and I met years ago when I was still working at Mindshare on the Unilever account. And he had started this company called Yes Boss, which has evolved into the present day Kata.ai, which is a conversational AI tool. And it's got a suite of products that really help brands and companies deepen their customer engagement. Right. So they've done a really good job creating these chatbot like tools across multiple products within their suite. Right. Why did I want to talk to him? Right. One, he's been at this for like 7+ years, but recently, if you are unaware, there's something called OpenAI and ChatGPT. Right. So artificial intelligence is having its moment, and it probably will be for years to come. It's really changing the way that we are thinking about AI, intelligence products, etc. Right. And so part of this, the reason why I want to talk to him is a lot of all of this is triggered through chatbot UX, right? And so this is something that he's been working on for a long time. He's been working on artificial intelligence and natural language processing with his company, especially with Bahasa, right? And so I thought it'd be really interesting to get his perspective. He had been posting about it on LinkedIn, and so we have a really good conversation around artificial intelligence, but we also have a really good conversation about his company and his product, right? And the evolution, right? He, unbeknownst to me, he had to lay off like 90% of his company at one point when he was pivoting the product. And then it's been like this slow grind to rebuild the company, the product, to get it to the point it is at today, where it's like the sustainable company with enterprise clients. So it's very cool to kind of see from afar his growth, both as an entrepreneur and as a company, right? So today, good episode. Can't wait to share it with you. Now on to my chat. Hey, Irzan, welcome to the pod.
Thank you, Jesse. Glad to be here. Thanks for inviting.
So you are the co-founder and CEO of Kata.ai. So let's start off by just letting everybody know like what it is you guys do.
Sure. So Kata.ai is the pioneer of conversational artificial intelligence platform for businesses in Indonesia. We mainly target the enterprise customers from the likes of telecommunication, financial service, FMCG, and retail, where we can improve their customer engagement through automations, AI, and messaging applications like of WhatsApp and others. We help them to reduce their costs by 70%, and at the same time, improving their conversion rate, also increasing sales through conversations. So to date, we have helped over 200 businesses in Indonesia, mostly our enterprise segment, and we have processed over 2 billion conversations to date.
So is this primarily like customer service, e-commerce related, or are there other use cases that I'm not thinking about right now?
Yeah, majority our use case are related to customer service and marketing engagement, like data collection through CRM. By using WhatsApp, building engagement is easier for the brand to collect data, for example. And for example, we also currently exploring the likes of loyalty marketing, how we can collect the data from offline and then bring them online and bring like personalized engagement to the customers over messaging applications.
Got it. Right. So that's definitely very important. I think, you and I, we met probably what, 7 6 7 years ago, right? I think
Right. Yeah.
it was still Yes Boss, the product at the
Mm-hmm.
time, right? So you guys have been at this a while, right? And the industry has evolved, and I think we're going to talk about how the AI and Kata.ai, but you know I feel like you are a little bit ahead of the game, right, in terms of uh you know
Right.
of using chatbots and thinking about AI in conversation. So like, where did this idea for you kind of generate from?
Right. So right where we start Yes Boss in 2015. So by the way, for the listeners here, like Yes Boss it was a B2C virtual assistant service where you can ask anything like for food delivery, for hotel reservation, and you want to reserve restaurants, you book a flight, for example, and using SMS. So imagine like a super app, but in SMS back then in 2015. But on the back end, we have like 50 people customer service answering and delivering your inquiries. And we work together with the other on-demand services like of Gojek, Tokopedia, and others to do fulfillment anyway. Uh, right from the beginning, we thought that we want to make people's lives easier, and it's just essential. People live chatting in Indonesia, and we love to be served anyway. But I understood that the scalability using this kind of service would be a problem, and hence my co-founder and I we believe that uh, it's essential to have a proper AI algorithm specifically in natural language processing for Bahasa Indonesia in place, right? But the problem again is that in 2015 there's no such thing as open source for Indonesian NLP, for example, or such API that we can use freely. So what we did is something what we call as cold turkey start. So we collected those data manually by employing like 50 customer services and then understanding the interaction between our customers and our agents and the way how they express they want something, the style of the language. And we use those millions of messages to build our own AI algorithm that we built from scratch that can understand Bahasa Indonesia in various way.
Yeah, I think I do remember like the Bahasa is a key component to it, right? Because there are a lot of tools out there, but they're all English based, right? And I think in some of the things that
Yeah.
we've done with this, we found it difficult when we're dealing with Indonesian language of Bahasa, right? So you created this product, and you you were using SMS, right? And I think um, one of the questions that I have, because I'm in the midst of it right now, listeners know we're trying to reach product market fit, right? The holy grail for a lot of early stage startups. And then your product kind of pivoted a little bit, right, from the tech standpoint. You kind of went to desktop. I know you integrate with like Facebook Messenger, so kind of like, how did that evolution happen? And then like, what was kind of like, I know there's no such thing as like a silver bullet tipping point, but like, what were some of the preceding factors that kind of got you to the point where, yes, we have something that works, that people want to use?
Right. That's a good question, Jesse. I think before we get there, the pivot moment is kind of like very tough moments, like the toughest 3 months in my life back then in 2016. Because at the time when Yes was running, we are like full operations running. We had like 100 team members spread across cities. And then we came to the point that it's very hard to make money after the business, given the fact that we were an aggregator of other aggregator services, right? And at the same time, we were running our cash very, very low, very thin. It's kind of difficult to fundraise. It's like a bit of the winter back in 2016 after all the honeymoon period in funding, like 2014, 2015, right? And we thought, right, okay, I think we had to change things differently. At the same time, I think we were lucky. So luck is something that I would say it's never out of the picture. It's the key thing here. Because one, our efforts in building the NLP algorithm for Bahasa Indonesia is already in place. The second, we were very lucky we got this opportunity to work with line messaging applications and Unilever. So Unilever was and Line were our savior back then because they wanted to build a female best friend in line messaging app that can speak freely in Bahasa Indonesia. So after like we didn't have any product back then, but we just have MPOC, and I think back then the managing director of Line Indonesia, Pak Ongki, he put like some faith in us. Oh, I believe these guys, they have something going on, and let's work with with them. And it was a big deal, by the way. I think the amount was like six figures digit US dollar. So it's quasi like seed funding for us. And then came to the point that we had to pivot. We inform our investors, get their blessings, and they also believe that direction is B2B for the constant revenue stream. And they also believe that AI is the future, right? And a lot of companies, startups, business in the west part of the world, they're talking about chatbots automation. Back then, I think Facebook Messenger just launched their bots on Messenger. And we had to let go like 92 of our staffs, 92, and leaving only 8 people. We didn't have any office. We had to work in the cafeterias of, I think, in the area of Kemang Village for, I think, a couple of months before we managed to secure another funding. And then once we get the project with Unilever up and running, the customers were happy. And then we made such great stride. It went viral. Even the chatbot itself, it's called Jema. Somebody talked to her for straight 4 hours. And then I post on LinkedIn and I get like 1,000 likes on my post. And I think the rest is snowball effect. Once you get this one big brand that trusts your service, and then the second we get Telkomsel, and the rest just history, like snowball effect because of this brand network effect, we call it.
Yeah, we're working on that because I think the most common question if you pitch anything new in Indonesia, probably the world, but like I specifically in Indonesia get this is, do you have a case study? Who else has done this? Right? Like people are
Correct,
a little
yes.
bit apprehensive of being the first, but once they see that like big name, it's much easier for them. And I remember I was, Unilever was my client at the time, so like I heard about Gemma and the data, and I, internally was pushing a lot of chatbot products, but it was still even a hard sale, and partly because like ownership of the product from the FMCG side is difficult, right? But I think that's great that Unilever and Telkomsel were kind of like your flagship clients that help you get the next wave, right? So, and then I guess from there, right, your product line has been evolving, right? So this is a common theme with a lot of the entrepreneurs on the show is they start with the one, right? And other people have described they start with like the lightest weight, the widest reaching product, and then they can kind of go vertical in terms of like they expand horizontally, but they can get a little bit more vertical in terms of like the use case, right? So you have some omni-channel, you have some voice messaging, right? So can you just kind of describe one, I guess, what these other features are, and then kind of like your decision process in terms of what to launch next and like how you would approach that?
Right. I think that's a good question, Jesse. I think what we did at the beginning is we understood at the core of itself that enterprise requires a lot of customizations and integrations. And B2B is, I think, like 50% relationship and 50% result. Sometimes the one who gets the deal, not the best player, but the one who knows better, the people inside of the company. Hence, our product also follow that suit. So we built what we call as Kata platform. So Kata platform is essentially like a developer platform that allows developers to build an AI-powered chatbot using our technology. It helped us to work together with the system integrators, technology consulting companies that can use our product and deliver the results with their effort as well, with the customizations, integrations, serving their customers. So I think at its core, we have this Kata platform. And the next part is all about like customer obsession. So once you get the understanding, okay, now you have built a chatbot. So we're talking about the vertical of customer engagement or customer service. And then you ask yourself, like, what would be required for the customers to complete the job here? Because the jobs to be done in customer engagement or customer service is ensuring your customers are happy. They get their solution, they get their problems answered with a fast solution, right? So chatbot is one of the way. And next we thought that, they might need an API where they can use the chatbot on WhatsApp. And then we provide this API, for example. And we thought again, okay, the likes of the enterprise customers, they might have this large full-fledged CRM applications or software, but these mid-market and small companies, they might need like unified chat platforms that combine chats coming from WhatsApp, Instagram, Telegram, and other chat messaging applications. So we built what we call as Kata OmniChat. So it's just, I think, rational because you have the automation, but understanding that the automation is not that ripe yet due to the state of the technology back then with the AI, and still requires like human intervention. So you build the software for the human piece. You build the API, and then you build next. Okay, these folks sometimes require the marketing team to blast informations, to blast campaigns. So we built the campaign engagement tool. So I think the rationale is just imagine that you're serving a customer, and what kind of like menu that you can serve them that can fulfill their hunger, right? Or I think the easiest part, if we are a consumer, and I believe all of us, we're using the likes of, on-demand service like Gojek. They start with ride hailing, and then we as a consumer, and we use their app again for food, like just Go Food, and then the payment piece with GoPay. And with B2B is also the same. You know your customers, let's say you're targeting the marketing people or the customer service, and what do they need from you in order to complete their jobs? And now our vision is, now we have kind of like going deep into the customer service vertical, how we can build AI-powered software along with our thesis in elevating people with, the power of AI and language to help them to collaborate and work easier. So that's why, okay, we have entered the customer service division, we have entered the marketing next. Right now we are building a piece in HR. So currently we're building like AI-powered recruitment tool, what we call as Kata Recruiters. So the vision is, imagine like if you're B2B, how each of the division, if your customer's company, they can use your service, your product, and it can be connected within each other. So I think that's the kind of like rough high-level mindset that I have, Jesse.
Yeah. So all these products, you're building up the suite. So basically, it sounds like you are increasing the lifetime customer value of every customer, right? So they're not just going to use one; they'll end up using 2 or 3 of your products, right? And then, are people like? Is that typical? They're when they sign up for one, they're gonna, that within X amount of time, they'll probably sign up for 2 or 3 other products, or do people kind of use each of these new features separately?
Right. I think it can go both ways, but I believe, as you mentioned, is how we can increase the customer lifetime value, but all how we can drive them value first, right? Value and then answers their problems. So the good thing about what I observe having this B2B relationship, in this Indonesian market is that once a customer trusts you with your service, they love your service, you solve their problems, they will ask everything from you. And sometimes it might not be things that related to your current service. Sometimes you need to bring along a partner, like a third-party vendor, for example, or it can spark your ideas that can something that can be baked on your roadmap, for example. So I think that's the holy grail of customer engagement and how we can build a end-to-end solution and roadmap by answering their needs at the same time increasing their lifetime value.
I love how you're very consistent in you're focusing on the customer and the customer problems and solving those. Like that is, and then you're basically talking and thinking like an agency, but you're using a technology solution, right? Agencies, like, they want to become the trusted advisor, and then they can kind of offer them solutions in different areas. That's how they make money, right? But you are, I think, doing exactly what all businesses should do, most businesses don't do, right? Is being very, very customer centric to the problems, right? So I think that in itself is definitely something that more people should be learning from. Artificial intelligence is both scary and very exciting, right? So everybody is scrambling to figure out how to integrate artificial intelligence into their product. So OpenAI and their Chat GPT product have really accelerated the way, or like how people view AI and like what is possible, especially in the realm of possibilities in the now, right? I watched Ex Machina, which is a movie about artificial intelligence with like humanoid robots, and this was made maybe 10 years ago, and so it's very interesting, uh, to see kind of like how that perspective a decade ago about AI was, and but now like it feels like we're getting closer to that reality, right? But uh, regardless, it's both crazy interesting and scary, right? But I wanted to, we're not at that point where we have like a robot that can like become human and kind of like take over the human race. We're still at a point where it's very much we chat and type in commands and questions and we get more human like responses, right? I What I'm trying to figure out is how I want to integrate, how I can integrate these AI tools into my daily life. Right, I just downloaded a Chrome extension that will give me executive summaries on any article, so I don't have to read the whole thing. Um, I don't know. It's interesting, but I wanted to get Irzan's opinion on like artificial intelligence in general, where he thinks it's going, and how he thinks people can be potentially using AI right now. I wanted to get into the artificial intelligence of it all, right? Part of the reason why I wanted to talk to you is if you're on Twitter, LinkedIn, dude, maybe even Instagram, right? There is a new .ai tool out there. You guys have been using .ai before it was cool, right? So I guess high level, like what are your I saw you wrote a LinkedIn post using Chat GPT, right? So like what are your initial thoughts about it from early case use cases from it, and then we'll kind of get more into like the business product and the whole industry discussion of it.
Right. I think it's just amazing. I use ChatGPT like every day for various cases. It might not be related to work, but with some of my personal needs. But I'm glad that finally AI-powered assistant find its product market fit after 10, 11 years. Well, Apple introduced Siri back in 2011, but sometimes you only use for reminders for alarm, for example. But now it became a tool that 100 million people within 5 days. That's massive, and I think that's a lot of value. And I'm glad that the vision that I have, like how AI could improve our productivity and I think happiness, it's finally we are starting seeing in the market right now with
Yeah. So
ChatGPT.
is there like a use case, a plugin or something that you have found to be particularly useful? Like I just paid for it and now I'm like experimenting more with some of these tools and plugins, trying to find like what is right the mix for me, right? So I'm just curious how like if what's one of your go-to ways of using it right now?
Right. I paid for the ChatGPT Plus, by the way, but I don't have the plugin because I think some of the people in the States they get this plugin already, but I don't think I have it. I'm not lucky already. Anyway, so use case I think right now to help me like to brainstorm some ideas, for example, like as a tandem partner, and then some case I use it for simple like enhancing the copywriting, making announcement, email, outline some reports, for example. And yeah, I think it's having like a brainstorming tandem partner the way I have it for various cases. Yeah, or I have some crazy ideas. Oh, what if we make a movie or comic books in the story of this and that, and just for fun. And yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, I didn't expect that it can also give value in the, I would say, like storytelling or entertainment industry.
No, I mean, I'm asking because I think there are so many ways to use it that I'm not even thinking of yet, right?
Yeah.
Everyone on Twitter has like their new use case. I'm still kind of like using it almost like Google, where I ask it questions. I know I'm just skin deep with that right now, and there's a lot deeper ways, but no, it is definitely incredible, right? So, do you see this as a threat to Kata AI, or is there like a way that this is going to enhance what you guys do, right? Because you have already built like the user behavior of chat, right, which is kind of like the entry point to a lot of this.
Right. Well, some wise people said that if you can't beat them, you join them. So in this case, I embrace them because I feel like it gives a lot of value, not only for me as an end users, but also for businesses. Especially now they have opened up their API, right? There are some integrations that we're currently working on, so stay tuned. Some use cases we are thinking that it makes sense for enterprise customers, but we are trying to be, I think, quite realistic how to use it that still gives value and result for the customers, but at the same time giving them enough like safeguards that it doesn't open up too much, because when you build services for enterprise customers for the B2B, then they want everything to be in brand, right? So I think that's quite a challenge, but I believe this will enhance our offerings and value to our customers.
Yeah. So eventually, basically, what you're saying is you will be able to use this to that the customer service chatbots that companies have will have that unified, a more natural, unified brand voice that comes out. Is that one thing?
Yeah, yeah, I think that's one thing definitely. And then enhancing the intent, for example, and then it has a very quite robust, I would say, like sentiment and emotion analysis. Because I think you were in an agency, right, JC, and a lot of brands ask for sentiment. And I think for the past years, all sentiment is only about like positive, negative, neutral. And now they can do more. They know like when people are disgusted, when people are anxious, when people are happy, when they are, I think, delighted with the service. So that kind of granularity and the insights you can bring to your customers, especially to brands, it's super rich, I guess.
That brings me to my point. It's kind of a larger AI discussion, right? And part of this is because I just watched Ex Machina for the first time last weekend. But there's some prominent voices in America that are causing for like a 6 month pause on this because they're a little bit worried, right? You had that Google engineer half a year ago or so who was saying like there was like a sentient bot or something like at Google. Like, is there real fear? Is that something you think that we should be aware of? People, brands who are looking into integrating with AI should be aware of or fearful of, or how should we kind of think about that?
Right. I think the way we look at it as, yes, I do believe the result and impact that AI is delivering is exponential. And its growth also been exponential for the last, I think, couple of months, right? But for me, it's just a tool, So it's very useful when it's being used responsibly and ethically, and it can greatly benefit society. I mean, like it increases your productivity, and then it helps you to do more, definitely in a short time period and with less resources. Of course, however, there are these fears surrounding AI mainly stems around, job displacement, for example, data privacy and security, and I think that's something that businesses, brands have to be mindful about, and then potential misuse. As I think with any other powerful technology, the key to addressing these concerns lies in regulations and then continuous education. I mean, like not like formal education, but having like public discussion. I think this kind of like podcast also, uh, I think the one of the medium for education about AI and its pros and cons, right? and also like how we can, we have to embrace that now. AI is being part of the culture, and how we as users, as businesses, as platform owners, to maintain that it's still ethical on the deployment, development, and also for the impact to the society. That's my take, Jesse.
Yeah, I think, you kind of touched on it, right? Like there is, it's going to be commoditized at some point, right? And it's
Correct. Yeah.
won't be, it's very revolutionary now, but I think, in 5 years, it's going to be kind of like table stakes for any product or experience. So it probably will not be as scary, at least in my opinion. It's not going to be as scary as, like the, who was the bad guy in one of those Avenger movies, right?
Ultron. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I guess touching on this becoming a commodity, right? And this, I'm just looking for a little bit of education on your point of view, because I think in the beginning of our conversation, you had said that, one of the unique value propositions that you had was that you had like this natural language learning model that was specific to Bahasa, right? So is that still unique to you? Are there other, like, is ChatGPT is that English only, like, or I'm not sure how that, to be honest, like how that translates.
Right. Yeah. Based on my understanding, ChatGPT can already serve like 95 languages. And it can craft, some paragraphs, some, as I understand, like even like casual or formal Indonesian languages. So I think it become it becomes a commodity, as you mentioned, just like the cloud server we're using. We're using AWS or Google Cloud. It's become ubiquitous. So yeah, I think businesses that or products that will are not embracing AI in the long run, I think they will get left behind, because again, it improves the customer experience, the customer stickiness, deliver better results, and then improving the profitability of their business. So I think, I believe it's a net positive sum game for AI anyway.
Yeah, and I think the unique data that you feed into it is what's going to make it the most valuable and most beneficial for your customer. And through these customer engagement conversations, you're definitely going to get that brand voice, the brand problems. So yeah, I mean, it seems like from my perspective, you're in a very good position. So I've been interviewing CEOs and entrepreneurs for a couple years now, and most of the people that I've spoken to, um, they all have really good experience, and they're in varying stages of their company's life cycle. But most of them are probably in that 2 to 4 year range in terms of maturity. And I think one of the things that is interesting about Irzan is that he has been working on this for 7+ years. That's a long time, right? I've never worked at a company that long in my life or worked on anything, for that amount of time. So I think you get a different type of perspective from someone who's been at it for so long, right? So, I like to end these podcasts where I ask for advice, right? What do they think based on their experience? Young entrepreneurs, first time entrepreneurs should know, right? And I think Irzan gives us very solid perspective based off of his 7+ years as an entrepreneur. So earlier we talked about how you said 2015 you started this company, right? Which is like 7 years ago, 8 years ago now,
Yep.
right? Um, that's like a lifetime in startup years, right? And
Yeah.
you've already outlined how you've pivoted the product. You've had to slash 90% of your workforce, which is like an extremely painful endeavor. And then you've built up the raised money, built up the team from there, right? So has anything gotten easier uh as you've grown, or is it kind of like the Greg LeMond quote where it doesn't get easier, you just what is it, you just go faster, right?
Mm. Yeah. So I think as an entrepreneur that who's been doing this for 8 years, I think one thing that has gotten easier is adapting to change, because the only thing that is constant in this industry, that ever changing and rapidly growing, is change, right? So with the experience that I'm getting, it's learning to adapting change is inevitable, and it helps me as a founder, as an entrepreneur, to become more resilient and flexible in navigating like various challenges. It can be happen, externally, internally, but it can happen on your customers, your partner, your staff. So I think it helps me to develop a better understanding about pivoting, when to persevere, and when to let go. Definitely.
That makes so much sense. I know in just 1 year, like I've been able to moderate my highs and lows because I've just gotten used to, like, I know it's going to happen. I don't know what's going to trigger it, but like, yeah, that definitely makes sense. So what would be something that you wish you knew before you started the company?
I think a lot, like so many, JC. But I think all in all, it boils down to you are only as good as you are able to hire as a founder. Because at the beginning, it might be like a Superman show, like one man show. But if you want to go fast and, well, especially want to go far, you need a team, a very, very strong team. A strong team that, I'm not talking about some quote unquote like rock star developers, ninja, blah, 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 but more towards people who are aligned to the same vision, and they believe and trust each other, and they're being collaborative. All in all, like finding people who believe in the mission, and I think can fit in with building like right culture is kind of important. It might sound cliche, but after being running this for 8 years and then facing a lot of changes in the market, especially like for the past 1 year with its own like tech winter, I'm very, very thankful to have a very strong team that are collaborative, even though things are not getting easier, but they believe in the changes, the mission, and they are here to collaborate and deliver impact to their customers and our partners.
Yeah, I can't agree more with the team. So my follow up is hiring is, it's hard. It's fucking hard.
Yes.
And being in a startup, there's that you have so many more kind of like limitations that, a large corporation might have. So when you are interviewing people, it doesn't matter the role, like, is there a characteristic or trait or something that you are looking for that kind of enables you to know, hey, this person, they get it, they are going to be a part of this team, and they're gonna, rock and roll with me for the long term?
Right. So I think one thing for sure, I'm looking for their growth mindset, like how this person managed to grow themselves from one role to another role in the previous career, for example, or there are things aside of the work that he or she is keen to explore or work on. I think that signals that somebody is having like a good growth mindset and understand their aspiration as well. The second is it's very important to have someone that having like a clear thought process. So I think a lot of our assignments will test people on their thought process, and critical thinking is very, very key here, because when you want to make decisions, and the way you process your thoughts in making that decision is much more important than the result. That's my take. And the third one is communication is key here. And especially we are an organization that is spread across multiple cities. We're working from anywhere, so we don't meet face to face. And sometimes, people can get words in the wrong way and then meet over Zoom or Google Meet. It's not easy. So having a good communication skill is kind of important. And those who understand the needs of over communication, it's kind of critical based on the needs of my organization.
Do you have like a question that you asked to kind of gauge their growth mindset?
Well, I think it's more towards like asking, uh, it started like, why do you want to apply to this company? I think that's simply like one question, and it can evolve to everything depending on their answers, Jesse. But those who have growth mindset, I typically have more follow-up questions, and then more interest. Like it triggers my interest to get to know more about this person, because sometimes you get it when you try to interview people, and there are people who spark interest in you, that you want to learn more. Then I think that's a good thing. That means, okay, that person that you're hiring might have this growth mindset, just like what you expect.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I think you can tell the quality of the candidate by the number and the type of follow-up questions that they have for you. No, so I think that was a good answer. All right, let's end it with this. If you could give one piece of advice to a first-time entrepreneur, what would it be?
Well, I think growth is nice, but profit is better. That's just my take, especially like we will never know about the fundraising climate, but all in all, maintain your people, and your people will maintain your product will maintain the profit. So I think it goes hand in hand from the culture, and then it will go towards like the profitability as well. Yeah, so I think that's my take.
Yeah, it's a new world. Growth isn't everything. Profit is definitely what investors are looking for. Irzan, thank you so much for the time and being on the pod.
Likewise, Jesse, thank you so much for the invitation. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Side Door podcast. I appreciate any likes and ratings that you will give us. I really appreciate it if you share this with a friend. We always appreciate a larger audience to hear the stories of these entrepreneurs in Indonesia. If you go to sidedoor.xyz, that's going to take you to our Spotify playlist, so you can hear all of the episodes there. You can subscribe there. And here we're doing a little bit more video. So if you go to sidedoor.video, that's going to take you to our YouTube channel, so you can subscribe there. You can watch the episodes there. You can kind of track where my funky eyes are going, and my weird faces that I make when people are speaking. But I'm pretty excited about this. We've got a lot more cool guests coming on. So appreciate any help that you can give me to spread the word of this podcast. If you have any suggestions for the pod, or potential guests, hit me up on Twitter at Jesse Bouman. Until next time, stay curious.